Can a romance book series actually literally alter your brain chemistry? Well, according to a massive review of Rina Kent's Legacy of Gods saga, the answer is a resounding absolutely yes. Today we're unpacking a dark romance phenomenon that is just completely taking the reading world by storm. The explosive claim here is that this sprawling six-book series will completely rewire your emotions. So, how on earth does an author actually pull that off? We're going to map out exactly how Rina Kent achieves this insane level of emotional impact.
But first, please note, full audiobook available now. Click the link in the description to listen.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp this sprawling saga, we need a roadmap. We'll start with what makes this series so chemically altering. Move into the shift from morally black to grumpy sunshine tropes. Explore the trauma, tears, and mystery of the back half. Look at the interconnected book universe, and finally, hit the definitive series ranking.
All right, Section 1, a chemically altering series. Welcome to Dark Romance.
And rolling right into Section 2, morally black to grumpy sunshine. First things first, this is a dark romance, so absolutely check your trigger warnings before jumping in, because Rina Kent pulls zero punches here. This series was actually initially picked up as a dark, smutty kind of palate cleanser to cure a reading slump from the Zodiac Academy series. And these first three books, they lay a very distinct foundation, and this brilliantly illustrates how the family dynamics and tropes evolve. Take God of Malice. Killian isn't just morally gray. Actually, scratch that, he is morally black. He's a non-neurotypical psychopath who literally can't feel regular emotions, so he relies heavily on total obsession. Then, we pivot completely in God of Pain with Creighton and Annika. Annika is this bubbly, purple-loving mafia princess, and she slowly but surely drags the grumpy, British royalty-adjacent Creighton into a deep, unwavering obsession with her. It's the ultimate grumpy/sunshine dynamic. Finally, God of Wrath gives us Jeremy, Annika's brother, who's deep in the Russian mafia, and Sicily. Both of them are the caretakers of their friend groups, constantly pushing their own needs aside, which culminates in a really heavy story centered around shared, deep-rooted trauma.
To give you a real flavor of just how wild these characters are, listen to Killian's response in God of Malice when Glyndon tells him smoking is going to kill him. He says, "Yeah, I'll quit, but only if you keep my hands and mouth busy. I'm collecting you like an infinity stone." Wow, right? It's spicy, it's hilarious, and it shows exactly how unhinged and intense his obsession with Glyndon really is. That unapologetic ruthlessness, that is exactly what shot Killian to the top of the reviewer's book boyfriend list for a good while. He literally doesn't care about anything in the world except for his woman.
But trust me, the intensity only scales up from there. Just thinking about the striking, gothic aesthetic of the God of Wrath cover art, you can instantly feel the heavy, monumental tone of this particular story. It's widely described as one of the absolute hottest books in the series. But it also features this incredibly intense, gut-wrenching Russian roulette scene, and that scene perfectly captures the danger of Jeremy's Russian mafia world, along with the severe trauma both of these characters are desperately trying to work through. It's a beautiful story, but it is incredibly heavy.
So, moving on to Section 3, Trauma, Tears, and Mystery. Look, if the first three books hooked the reader, books 4 through 6, they turn into full-on snot-sobbing tear-jerkers.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between twin brothers Landon and Brandon. You've got Landon in Book 4, God of Ruin, paired with the goth Barbie Mia. Landon is cocky, he lacks normal empathy, kind of like Killian, but honestly, he just came across as a bit insufferable and kind of boring to the reviewer, ultimately falling pretty flat. But then, on the flip side, you have his twin brother Brandon, the star of Book 5, God of Fury. Brandon is the sweet baby angel of the friend group. He's quiet, he's reserved, always looking out for everyone else. But secretly, he is battling incredibly deep, agonizing trauma.
And Brandon's story in God of Fury is an absolute game changer. This was actually the reviewer's very first male-male romance, and let me tell you, she annotated the absolute life out of this book. Brandon gets paired with Nico, Killian's cousin, who is completely, beautifully unhinged. Nico is best described as a demented golden retriever. He is fiercely obsessed with Brandon, tenderly calling him his lotus flower. And as Brandon battles with his sexuality and the really dark roots of his trauma, Nico is the one who slowly pulls him out of his shell. There's a profound reason why reading about this level of deep trauma and the healing that follows gives readers such a cathartic release. Seeing Brandon finally learn to love himself, that led to absolute boo-hooing, real tears. It is the undeniable emotional core of the whole series.
But the emotional roller coaster doesn't stop there. The final book, God of War, shifts gears entirely with a 2-year time jump and this heavy, overarching mystery. We follow Ava, who is the bubbly, pink, sparkly it girl of the group. Well, Ava wakes up in a hospital with amnesia. She looks over, sees Eli, who is Creighton's brother, and a guy she historically despised, and he casually informs her that they are actually married. It's giving Major The Vow meets The Notebook energy, but highly, highly traumatizing. As Ava pieces her missing memories back together, it takes us on a deeply depressing, yet incredibly beautiful journey that ties up the mysteries of the entire friend group.
On to Section 4, the interconnected book universe.
Because you see, the Legacy of God series doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's actually part of a massive interconnected universe that fans call the Reverse. Once you finish Legacy of Gods, you can jump back and read the Royal Elite series to discover the dark, mafia-tied backstories of all these characters' parents. The reviewer is currently devouring Cruel King, and it's mind-blowing to spot the overlapping traits, like seeing the exact similarities between Landon and his father, Levi. It just adds this brilliant, fascinating layer of generational trauma to the whole shebang.
And finally, Section 5, the ultimate series ranking. Let's move to and see how this builds, taking into account the spice, the obsession, and the sheer volume of tears shed. Starting at the bottom, number 6 is God of Ruin. Landon was just too cocky and kind of boring compared to the rest. Number 5 is God of Pain. It's cute, but the grumpy/sunshine trope just couldn't hold a candle to the heavier hitters. Number 4 is the amnesia mystery God of War, which was an absolute emotional wrecking ball. Number 3 is where it all began, God of Malice, carried entirely by our unapologetic psychopath Killian. Number 2 goes to the insanely hot, mafia-drenched trauma of Jeremy and Cecily in God of Wrath. And taking the ultimate crown at number 1 is God of Fury. The angst, the tension, and the beautiful healing in Bran and Nico's story firmly locked it in as the undisputed masterpiece of the series. So I want to leave you with this final thought. What is it about dark, morally black characters that keeps readers coming back for more? Rina Kent has this incredible, unique talent for taking characters with genuinely awful traits and masterfully humanizing them until you are literally desperately rooting for their happiness. It really is a testament to the power of the dark romance genre, exploring the deepest, most traumatized parts of the human psyche and somehow, against all odds, finding a happily ever after. I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity to dive in and explore these wild dynamics for yourself.
And before we go, a quick reminder. Full audiobook available now. Click the link in the description to listen. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.